The organisation most frequently linked to the LTTE here in the UK is the BTA, the British Tamil Association, the organisers of Heroes Day. We've repeatedly asked them for an interview and they've repeatedly declined. However, what we have found is a former Tamil tiger who is confirming allegations that if diaspora Tamils want to return to Tamil-held territory in Sri Lanka, they're being charged a tax of £1 a day for every day they spend abroad. He's prepared to give us an interview, but he's also requesting that we conceal his identity.
The LTTE used to come to houses to collect money. They demanded that I should pay monthly. They said, "You didn't pay a cent after coming to London. If we go to Sri Lanka, they will only let us in if we show this number. Otherwise, they detain us." I was paying £30 a month. I have the receipt.
So this is interesting. This is the British Tamil Association. They came to collect money and they said, we basically say we're the BTA because we can't say that we're LTTE, but this money is going for LTTE purposes. They also mentioned the final walk, so definitely war there. They issued a receipt which has got a personal identification number. If you next travel to Sri Lanka to Tamil-held territory, you give them that identification number, and with it, they actually let you pass because it shows that you're a paid-up person. In spite of the denials of the BTA, this receipt, along with the testimony of our interviewee, links the BTA to the banned LTTE. It shows that some Tamils are being held to ransom by the very organisation that claims to be fighting for them. The Tamils of Sri Lanka seem to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. On the one side, a government that has done little to address their grievances with more than bombs and bullets. On the other, the hardline tigers that early on established themselves as the only voice for the Tamil by wiping out all other rebel groups. Nirmala Rajasingham has bitter experience of how both the Sri Lankan government and the LTTE react to those who oppose them. In 1982, as a supporter of the Tigers, she became the first woman to be imprisoned in Sri Lanka under the country's Prevention of Terrorism Act. Later, the LTTE engineered her escape.
Well, the LTTE basically rescued me from prison, because I was their person then. Then, of course, I went to India to live with them and work with them, and within 6 months I was out of the movement because when I went into inside the organization, I realized this is not my place. This is, you know, it's just totally undemocratic. Internal killings of cadres had started to happen then itself. You know, cadres who were challenging the authority were being quietly taken away and finished off.
A few years later, Nirmala's younger sister was killed in Sri Lanka for her criticisms of the Tigers. It may be that an alternative voice to the LTTE can only arise abroad.
We felt that we could start organizing this now to create a democratic space for an alternative Tamil voice to come up. Because the LTTE claimed to be the sole representative of the Tamil people, and we know that they are not. Because we know that both here and in Sri Lanka, there are a lot of people who are totally disgruntled with the LTTE, totally. Not simply because they have had family members murdered, but because of their very behavior of control, of taxation, of child abduction, of political killings. People are fed up, they have had enough.
While we are filming, a possibility arises to gauge how British Tamils really feel about the Tigers. A week ago, Anton Balasingham, the LTTE's ideologue, died here in London after a long battle with cancer. Today, the British Tamil organisation has organised a huge memorial service to remember him. We're trying to get access to the event, which we've been denied in advance, but we're still here to try and see what we can actually do. A UK resident, Balasingham was second only to the leader Prabhakaran in his importance to the Tigers. The British Tamil Association managed to book the Alexandra Palace in North London before any authorities could object. The scale of this event is absolutely extraordinary. There's an arrival point for buses over there. There are buses coming from airports. People have been flying in from Switzerland, from France. In fact, they're saying from pretty much all countries in Europe. And there's a queue going all the way around the building, which is where the British Tamils are queuing. And there are literally thousands of Tamils in that queue. There are about 150,000 Sri Lankan Tamils in the UK. Today, up to a third are here. This huge farewell to the LTTE spokesman could easily count as the glorification of prescribed groups, criminalized by the recent Terrorism Act. But the police stick to admiring the BTA's crowd control. We try to slip inside to speak to the organizers, to any member of the BTA.
Why is that?
Because it's a private property, we don't want anybody on here filming.
Are you working with Alexander Palace or with the BTA?
I work for the BTA. I'm outside to leave the premises. Okay, so back down onto the road, please.
The BTA may refuse to talk to us, but the numbers here speak for themselves. While there is no doubt that some are being intimidated, the majority of UK Tamils do seem to see the Tigers as the only effective opposition to the policies of the Sri Lankan government. Many feel that the UK's ban on the LTTE is one-sided and only gets in the way of possible dialogue.
Appeals to the Prime Minister and also all three parties to actually look at the ban and say the justification for it, whether this is hindering the peace process or really promoting the peace process. Actually, one can see it is actually hindering the process. And also people feel the whole community has been criminalized.
I cannot see the LTTE having the political imagination to sit down with the state and other political groups to accommodate all opinions, to work out a solution. I see them being completely politically bankrupt. They have this very self-destructive, nihilist ideology of suicide bombing and killing. Apart from that, they have no other answer to the Tamil people. The people who sit here in the diaspora and continue to support the LTTE are being very irresponsible. They should focus their energies, instead of supporting the LTTE, they can focus their energies on pressurizing the Sri Lankan state for a viable political solution, some kind of autonomy, some kind of devolution of power, which is what we need in this island.
With the war escalating, the approach of the international community appears half-baked. Issuing unenforced bans isn't solving the problem. But stronger support for an effective peace process could help existing efforts to solve this intractable conflict.
That's all for this edition. But for more on today's story and to share your ideas about people and power in your world, visit our website, aljazeera.net/English. Join us again next time. Goodbye.